the New York Times, A Progressive Mind in a Body Made for the Manosphere. They changed the title.
Oh.
Yeah, because it said MAGA body before.
Yeah.
And but what you were saying is they're basically admitting that the left is a bunch of frail, low-T guys who don't exercise.
Absolutely. It's absolutely true. Yes, of course, there are some dudes that are on the left that lift. Of course there are. But generally, dudes that are on the left are not thinking about things like, oh man, I should go to the gym today. I should do something to improve myself. They don't have that attitude. They tend to have an attitude of it's someone else's fault. It's someone else. There's someone else is the reason why these bad things have happened to me. They don't believe they have agency over their own body, never mind their life circumstances.
So here's the original headline. Hasan Piker, a progressive mind in a MAGA body.
Yeah.
I love that headline. Let's roll with it. If you are fit, if you exercise, if you like weapons, that's MAGA. The only anomaly is that for some reason Hasan is progressive. I got to be honest though, I actually don't believe Hasan is progressive, and I actually don't think most of these people are. So we went over this the other day with David Pakman, Brian Tyler Cohen. Boy, I love dragging these guys right now because probably 95 to 100% of their videos are literally just Trump, 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 Trump. Trump is bad for this reason. Now he's bad for this reason. Now he's bad for this reason. It's just like these people don't talk about news. They are literally just Trump review channels, which means there is a logical inconsistency. You can't simultaneously exist in this space where everything Trump does is bad. So like the immigration thing, which we'll get into in a little bit, where it's like a 2-year-old was deported because the mom requested the 2-year-old leave with her. How dare Trump do that? Then you've got a simultaneous story from New York Times. A 2-year-old stayed after his parents were deported. How dare Trump do that? So here's what I imagine. I imagine that if you actually got someone like Hasan or Pakman behind closed doors, they'd probably say a whole bunch of pro-Trump stuff. Easily. They're just putting on a show for money. I do believe Hasan Piker hates America.
Yes.
I do believe that he is like pro-Palestine. I do believe he hates Israel and all those things. But there are a lot of pro-Trump people also absolutely hate Israel and hate that Donald Trump supports Israel, but they like Trump for what he's doing for America. And that's, it is what it is. But I'd be willing to bet, based on the logic of Trump's plans, like, renegotiating the USMCA and things like this, if you brought those progressives in private with the cameras off, they'd say, I like all of these things. And if you go, those are Trump things, they'll go, I don't know, whatever. They won't want to admit it.
I'm so glad you brought up David Pakman because he's actually my example of the intellectual who is most symbolic for the ruling regime. Where
Really?
I have watched this clip of David Pakman multiple times just to analyze it, and it's him talking about the economy being good. And I watch it because it's just emblematic of the DNC personified.
Like the economy being good right now?
Yeah. This was like a year ago, but it was saying, the stock markets, the numbers are, line go up equal world gooder. It's that whole school
Oh, right.
of
Yeah.
thought.
Graph go up.
And a lot of these statistics are themselves completely falsified. So he's going off gerrymandered and falsified and exaggerated statistics at best, say that everything is fine. We're at war with East Asia.
I want to do something. I want to do a couple of things. I want to show you first, David Pakman, because he deserves all of the attention he can get for his hard work. This is his list of videos on YouTube right now with 3.17 million subscribers. Bravo to him. He gets millions of views. He gets massive viewership, over 2 billion views. He makes tons of money. Dude's probably a millionaire. First video, Trump. Second video, Trump. Next video, Trump. Fifth video, Trump. Sixth, Trump. Oh, wait. Seventh video is press briefing or SNL skit. He doesn't mention Trump. Okay. The next one is GOP down because of Trump. Trump. It's guys, you get the point. These people do not do news and political commentary. It's literally just the Trump show. And I think they're attracted to him. But you know what? That's just me. But here's the thing. I want to go back to the Hasan Piker story, and let's talk about the corporate press. Ladies and gentlemen, for what reason did the New York Times give a glowing profile to Hasan Piker? Honest question. Has he done something that warrants a big profile page like this with this full image? And I mean, they're not criticizing him at all for the most part. I mean, do they bring up? Honestly, I didn't read it. All I know is that they said he's a progressive mind in a body for the manosphere or a MAGA body. fighting for LGBTQ rights, et cetera, et cetera. Do they bring up the times he said America deserved 9/11 or things like that? Here's why I asked this question. I got here livesearch.app. It's at livesearch app. They track the biggest live streams in the country every day. And you will see number 1 for April 29th. Now, I know this is 2 days ago. This is the latest update. Steven Crowder, the biggest live stream in the country. Consistently, too. Crowder's usually number 1 or number 2. Dan Bongino was number 1 for a while, but now he's at the FBI. Kai Cenat, number 2. Yo, everybody knows him. I see his videos pop up on Instagram all the time, and his persona is I'm confused. Like, am I wrong?
He just makes a confused face at the camera and like, yes.
Right?
I mean, it looks more like a minstrel show, if I'm being honest.
Well, I mean, I don't want to drag him because I think when he's going and doing like he goes places, then he's confused when he sees something new. It's entertaining. I'm not trying to drag the guy for it. It's fun content. Timcast IRL number 3. Proud to say. Bob Ross, number 4. Right Side Broadcasting, number 5. Ryan Hall, number 6. Queso, number 7. Vince, number 8. Pat McAfee, number 9. Aiden Ross, number 10. Redacted, number 11. Timcast Morning Show, number 12. Jinxie, number 13. Law and Crime, 14. PBD, 15. Tim the Tatman, 16. Emily D. Baker, 17. Court TV, 18. Hasan Piker, 19. So, certainly you're allowed to write glowing profiles and reviews for whoever you want. They don't need to be the biggest shows in the world. I'm just pointing out he's the 19th biggest live show in the country on average around there. The New York Times is giving him a profile because the New York Times is liberal media trying to promote the worldview that he has.
I think a portion of it is they believe that he will attract young men like Joe Rogan or whatever because the left knows that they've lost a significant portion of young men. Young men are turning to the right. And so Hasan, as the guy that wears masculinity like a skin suit, just like the left does with just about everything, they believe that he'll attract young men back to the left.
Does
Bingo.
Hasan have a predominantly male audience? 'Cause
Yes.
I assumed it was female.
I would assume anyone in politics is going to have a predominantly male audience.
Okay, yeah. That's fair. And also because the majority of users on like Twitch or YouTube, they're male.
I don't know that's true. I know
It's like 60% of users on YouTube are male.
She's correct.
Okay.
The left has an inability to see the inner forms of things. They can only see their external trappings. And due to that, their sense of time is very poor. They don't have a concept of change flowing over time incrementally. And so one of their core issues is they're sensing that they're losing a lot of support with their young male demographic, but then they don't realize that that's not something that you can change overnight by just having because they see Joe Rogan and they want to have a figure like Joe Rogan, but then they can't artificially create that and they can't artificially build up that cultural form, and they can't wipe away the years of abuse against young white men.
So here's a story from Axios. Democrats eyeing 2028 court the manosphere. And I just mentioned this, but they bring up the manosphere as going on PBD. Yeah. Going on The Men at Work, going on Flagrant. They mention that Trump made popular going on manosphere shows like Joe Rogan, Theo Von, Lex Fridman.
Nice.
And Andrew Schultz. Lex is the exact opposite of the manosphere.
Yes.
Is it just because they're male?
Just because they're male. Well, look,
Because they're men.
the left knows nothing about men.
They also
and I
accused the right of courting the womanosphere. So I'm confused. What is the right?
Well, no. They said that there is the rise of the womanosphere, which is Brett Cooper and Candace Owens and some other people. I just want to mention one real quick thing about Lex Fridman, and I mean this with all due respect. Do you know what the number one reason people tell me they listen to Lex's podcast? Any guesses?
Just go
Serge
to
knows.
sleep?
Yes.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. This is not a joke. I hear all the time from my friends that, and look, I'm not trying to be a dick. Maybe this is a really good thing. They turn on Lex's show and they fall asleep. Like
The soothing timbre of his voice. You know?
But I mean that literally. I do think so. It's a very low, calm show.
Yeah.
Where the talking is quite
like
honestly
a white
the opposite
noise
of this.
machine.
It is,
Yeah.
but it's interesting too. So you get a mix of maybe for about 10 minutes you're hearing someone say something like, "With the AI advancements, in the latest developments, we're starting to see programs that are writing them just knocks you right out. That is not the manosphere.
No.
But anyway, you make a good point. The reason why the New York Times writes an article about a guy who, he's got a big show, that's fine, but there's a lot of other people to write about. They've been demanding, they've been begging for the left version of Joe Rogan, which, to be honest, was Joe Rogan. And they're thinking, okay, Hasan's got a big live audience. Can we make him big? Can we make him the masculine presence to bring men into progressive politics? I think the answer is no, because I'm willing to bet that most of the guys who watch Hasan are probably not very strong. And guys who are masculine are not going to agree with a worldview aligned with progressivism.
Probably
no matter,
dress like girls, too.
Look, no matter how you dress up the salesman of progressivism, it is anti-masculine.
Yeah, it is.
Guys who exercise are not going to get down with communism.
No. Well,
On average.
Again, the defining factor, or not the defining factor, one of the common traits of people on the right is they believe they have agency and the ability to affect their world. And people on the left think that life happens to them. People on the right think, I am able to have an impact on my life. It's why they are the go-getters. It's why they're the people that go and exercise. It's why they're the people that start businesses. It's why they're the people that do things. People on the left are activists because they want someone to advocate for them. This is something that's common. And again, it's not all people that are on the right or on the left, but it's very, very common. The left has thrown men away. They have blamed men and boys for all the problems in the world, and they've been doing it for 30, 40 years, and now they're realizing, oh crap, we kind of want their votes. And so they're doing the best that they can to attract young men back, and the best way to do that is get masculine-looking men to give the narrative that the left wants.
One of the contradictions here, I don't watch Hasan Piker's content, but it seems like he doesn't align with mainstream Democrat Party views.
He's a commie.
Party lines, because he's I don't know what he would call
people
himself.
Consider himself progressive.
The people working at the New York Times that are running the show are commies. This wasn't the case 10 years ago, but as boomers and Gen X move out of those positions, millennials fill them, and you're getting largely, journalists tend to be women and tend to be Democrats. So these younger people, look at Bud Light. Bud Light's goes Dylan Mulvaney. They say we want to get rid of the frat bro image, and it was obvious it was going to be some millennial woman who got hired in the marketing position who was going to change the rules or like change the play, and it was correct. It was this woman. This is what happens when millennial women come in. They bring their worldview with them. Why wouldn't they? And that's what's happening at the New York Times. They're promoting Hasan because to them, he is what the left needs to be.
Is he normal? Like, would you consider him normal looking? Like
Hasan?
Because I remember back in the summer last year, they started this campaign about how Trump is weird and Vance is weird, and they wanted to kind of put this weirdness.
They left that behind because it didn't work. Because
it didn't land.
As soon as Trump,
they even started selling shirts that were like Trump is weird, and they had like a girl with a septum piercing and purple hair like modeling it.
Yeah, as soon as Trump and Vance went on the podcasts, people were like, "Oh, these guys are totally normal." And it's particularly Vance. Vance, they really tried hard to push he's weird, blah, blah, blah. And then Vance went on Joe Rogan and I believe on, I'm not sure who else, but he went on a bunch of podcasts and people were like, oh, he's like the most normal dude ever. I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Shit. But what I understand is that Hasan Piker's content is mostly him monologuing during his streams. And what people like about Joe Rogan is that he is interviewing people and he at least approaches things from a standpoint of intellectual humility. Like he has something to learn from his guest.
Yep.
That's not something that I've seen in any left-wing podcaster.
No, not at all. Because they
would never interview someone they disagree with anyway. Yeah, they tried.
They want to tell people what they're supposed to think. The left is top down, the right is not particularly top down. And this is all stuff that Rudyard has talked about in multiple of his videos. Like he's covered a bunch of this stuff.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.